first increase I'm going to demonstrate is the bar increase. The bar increase creates two stitches out of one stitch. It uses a stitch up as you make the increase. It's called the bar increase because it creates a purl bump when it's made, and it's abbreviated KFB, which stands for knit front and back. So to make the bar increase, you knit the stitch, and then you take your needle tip and you go behind the needle and through the back loop on that same stitch and knit again. And that we now have two stitches where I had one. Let me show this again. Knit through the front, go through the back, and there you have another increase. So here's your bar. It looks like a purl bump. Now this knit increase works very well when you're increasing along ribbing, such as when you want to increase stitches for a mitten or a sleeve after you've knit a cuff. If you knit this increase in the knit stitch of the ribbing, you'll purl the next stitch, but you end up with what looks like two purl stitches in the ditch between the knit ribs of the ribbing. It's a good way to hide and make this increase less visible. So finish this off here. So you can see along here in this 1x1 ribbing that I have on this end of this swatch that you now have a neat looking row of increases, and as you knit across then this will become less noticeable, and that's how you do a bar increase. The second increase I'm going to show you is it's called a Yarnover. It's abbreviated YO. You will sometimes see it abbreviated as YN or YIF, which stands for yarn in front or yarn over the needle. Yarnovers create holes, and so to make a yarnover when you are doing knit stitches, you simply bring your yarn to the front and hold it over your needle and knit the next stitch. That creates a hole. Yarn over the needle, and there's another hole. We'll do one more, and that's a yarn over between knit stitches. If you're going to do a yarn over between a knit and a purl stitch, then this next stitch would be a purl. I need to wrap my yarn around my needle like so, and then do my purl stitch so that my yarn is in the right place. And if you're going to do a yarn over between two purl stitches, you likewise need to do the same thing. So when you're purling, you wrap a little more. Okay. And this does create holes in your fabric. You can see the yarn overs here on the needle across. And so I have holes appearing in my fabric. And you do this on purpose when you're doing eyelet patterns and lace patterns and other open work type patterns in knitting. So to continue knitting after you've done yarn overs, when you get to the yarn over, if you're knitting, you simply knit into that yarn over and continue on. There's my yarn over knit. Keep going. Nope, I still got a couple knits here. Okay, so now I'm going to start purling. So I want this stitch to be a purl. I'm going to purl into it instead of knit into it. And just continue knitting across the row, purling into those yarn overs. And now let's take a look. Here are my holes made by my yarn overs. These would be called eyelets. And here they are on the purl side. If you look on this side, they look the same. Those are yarn over increases. We're now going to talk about the M1 increases. M1 increases can be make one left or make one right. If you see over here, I've made 3 increases on every other row here. Here are my increases, and these are leaning to the left, and it makes the shape of the swatch shift up to the left. Over here, I've make one right increases, and they lean to the right. And again, you can see that the shape of the piece begins to lean to the right. Make one increases are less visible in your knitting than the bar increase. It doesn't leave a bump, and they're used a lot in shaping, such as when you want to increase for sleeves after you've knit the cuff. It's used when you're making wedge-shaped shawls, also used when making shaping along a V-neck neckline, and other places in the garment where you might want to do some shaping. To make an M1 increase, you want to make sure you knit at least 1 stitch before you make your increase. And in this case, I've knit 2 stitches where I want to make my increase. The increase is made using this bar between the 2 stitches. And when you're doing an M1 right increase, you take the point of your left needle and go under that bar from the back to the front, and then you knit your stitch. And there's an M1 increase. And then I'll knit over to the left side and show you how to do the M1L or M1 left increase. Okay, so I'm getting over to the left side here. I'm going to do this increase 2 stitches from the edge. So the left leaning increase, you go in from the front to the back and then knit through the back loop to make your knit stitch. When you do this, it actually creates a twist at the bottom of this stitch, so it gets rid of any potential holes that you might have. So now I'm going to show you how you do this using the Continental method. Again, I'm going to go in 2 stitches before I make my increase. And I'm going to do a right leaning increase, so I'm going to go from the back to the front, and I'm going to go in through this stitch. So with Continental, that's a little bit trickier. And that's how you do it in Continental. To do the left leaning increase using the Continental method, again, left leaning, you go in from the front to the back. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to use this needle tip to do this. I'm going to go in from the front to the back just to make it a little easier. And then again, you have to go through this loop, the back loop, to make the left leaning increase. So it doesn't matter whether it's Continental method or English method, the principle is the same. And so what you end up with is right leaning increases on the right and left leaning increases on the left.